This is the mini lesson for 5.4 found on page 274. This is a little bit more challenging of a lesson, so you may need to watch portions of this video a couple different times. In order to build a balsa wood model of the Wright brothers plane, talking an airplane, you would need to cut long lengths of wood spindles into shorter lengths for the wing stays, which are the vertical poles that support and connect the two wings. Each stay for the main wings of the model needs to be cut 3¼ inches long. That is a stay. So these two go together. Show your work and explain your reasoning. If the wood spindles are 10 inches long, so again, I really like using models with math. So if this is, the whole thing is 10 inches, we want to know how many stays could we cut from the spindle. So each stay is 3¼ So I can kind of visually do this. If I had 3¼ inches here, and I did 3¼ again, and if I did 3¼ so far I'd be at 6½. If I did another, I know I'd be 9¾ There'd be a little left over, but I can visually see I'm going to get 3 out of there. So how many could I cut from one spindle? This is a division problem. I started with 12 inches, and I'm dividing it into pieces that are 3¼ And visually, I already know that I can get 3, and I'm going to have some left over. So let's do our math here. 10 divided by 12, 13/4. So 10 times the reciprocal. And when I multiply across, I get 40/13. 13 goes in 43 times. That's 39. And then there'd be 1/13 left over. So I can see that I get what I got over here. I have 3, but I also have a little bit that is left over. So now we wanted to be able to figure out how many inches is this left over, because I got 3 groups that are 1¼ and I have 1/13 of one of these pieces left over. So when I can phrase it that way, I have 1/13 of the next 3¼ stay. Of means times in math. So I have 1/13 of the 3¼ So I can multiply this. 1/13 times 12 plus 1, 13/4. Can simplify. That means I have 1/4 of an inch that would be left over, which that should make sense with my picture. 3¼ 3¼ 3¼ that's 9¾ So I already know this little piece has to be 1/4 of an inch by my picture. Now I mathematically proved it. I'm going to prove it another way. So I also could say that I have 3 stays that are all 3¼ inches. So 3 that are 3¼ So if I multiply these, 12, 13/4, that gives me 39/4. 4 goes into 39. 9 times is 36. There'd be 3 left over out of 4. That means this is the total of all of this. So how do I get this little extra? I know the whole thing was 10. I could subtract 9¾ and I'll get that little piece left over. So I'm going to change this to vertically. 10 minus 9¾ There's nothing here. I can't take 3/4 away, so I'm going to borrow. Bring over 4/4. 4 minus 3 is 1/4. 9 minus 9. So again, I get 1/4 of an inch. So I get it. Solving it mathematically 2 different ways. I see it from my picture. So I could represent this whole solution as I took the entire length of the board and I subtracted the amount of stays that I could get that are all 3 that are 3 3/4 inches. I took the three groups of 3 3/4, multiplied them to see how much of the wood we used, and then I subtracted that amount from the total length. So now they're telling me, what if the spindles are 12 inches long? How many stays could you cut? So if I have 12 instead of 10-inch piece of wood, and I'm dividing it by the stays, and we found on the previous page the stays are 3 1/4. Now I can divide these. 12 over 1 divided by 12 13/4. 12 over 1 times 4 13ths. This gives me 48 13ths. 13 goes into 48. Let's just check here. If I did 4, that's too many. So I have to go to 3. 3 would be 39. So 48 divided by 13. 3 of them is 39. If I subtract, there's 9 13ths left over. So I can get 3 complete stays. Now there's 9 13ths left over. So 9 13ths of the next 3 1/4 stay. So I can take 9 13ths times 3 1/4, which is 9 13ths times 13/4. Can simplify. 9/4. 4 goes into 9 2 times, and there would be 1 left over. So there would be 2 1/4 inches left over. Another way I could solve this, I had 3 complete stays. Each stay is 3 1/4 inches. So I could see how much of the 12 inches I used. 3 times 3 1/4. 3 over 1 times 12 13/4. That's 39/4. 4 goes into 39. 9 times is 36. There'd be 3 left over. So this is the inches that are used by my stays. But I started with 12-inch piece of wood. I want to see what's left over. So if I subtract how much I used, I'll get the amount left over. 12 minus 9 3/4. There's nothing here. I can't take 3/4 away. So I'm going to change that to 11. I'm going to bring over 4/4. 4 minus 3. 11 minus 9. I have 2 1/4 inches left over. Visually, what does this look like? If I had 12 inches altogether, and I'm cutting 3 1/4 out, I could get 3 complete stays, but I have this left over. So this method, I found all of this to be 9 3/4. So if I take 12, the whole thing, minus the 9 3/4, I'll get the leftover, which we just found out is 2 1/4. So I could write this as I took the whole piece, the 12, and I subtracted the 3 groups of 3 1/4. So you probably will need to look back at this. When you get to 6, again, I would like you to try to solve this both ways.